The billionaire walked in as his fiancée whipped the maid, then the entire party froze. The sharp crack echoed through the crowded ballroom, and every conversation stopped at once. A silver serving tray slipped from the maid's trembling hands and crashed onto the polished marble floor. "You're completely useless," a furious woman shouted before raising her hand again. The maid never fought back. She simply lowered her eyes. Then the grand entrance doors opened. A tall man in a dark suit stepped inside. His expression changed the second he saw what had happened. The room became so quiet that people could hear the crystal chandelier gently shaking above them. His fiancée slowly turned toward him with a confident smile. She expected him to defend her. Instead, he looked only at the maid. The color disappeared from his face. "Who did this?" he asked quietly. No one answered. Not a single guest moved. Because nobody knew what he was about to reveal. 34-year-old Ethan Brooks had built one of the largest construction companies in Texas. People admired his success, but those closest to him knew something else. He never forgot where he came from. His parents had worked long hours cleaning office buildings after losing their family farm. Growing up, Ethan often helped them mop floors after school. He promised himself that if he ever became successful, every worker under his roof would be treated with dignity. That promise followed him through every stage of his life. 2 years earlier, Ethan had become engaged to 30-year-old Vanessa Carter. She was elegant, beautiful, and came from a wealthy family that loved expensive parties. At first, Ethan believed they balanced each other. His quiet nature seemed to soften her bold personality. Or so he thought. The maid serving drinks that evening was 34-year-old Grace Miller. Most guests barely noticed her. She worked quietly, smiled politely, and never interrupted anyone. Only Ethan knew she had spent the last 3 years helping care for his late mother's garden every weekend after work because she knew how much his mother had loved it. Grace never accepted extra money. She always said, "Your mother was kind to me. This is my way of saying thank you." But there was something about Vanessa's cold stare that night that made Grace uneasy. And someone else had noticed it too. The engagement celebration had been planned for months. Business partners, neighbors, and close family friends filled the ballroom with laughter. Vanessa loved being the center of attention. She checked every flower arrangement, every plate, every napkin. Nothing escaped her eyes. Grace accidentally brushed against Vanessa's designer dress while serving champagne. Only a tiny splash landed near the bottom of the fabric. "I'm so sorry," Grace whispered. Most people would have accepted the apology. Vanessa did not. She grabbed Grace's wrist. "You embarrassed me." Grace apologized again. Several guests looked away. Nobody wanted to challenge the future wife of one of the city's richest men. Across the room stood Ethan's 12-year-old nephew, Noah. He had been helping the photographer. He watched everything. His face tightened with worry. Then Vanessa slapped the tray from Grace's hands. The loud crash startled everyone. But what happened next shocked Noah even more. He quietly picked up something that had fallen beneath the broken glasses. He slipped it into his pocket without saying a word. No one noticed. Not yet. Grace knelt on the floor, trying to gather the broken pieces before anyone stepped on them. Her hands shook. One small piece of glass cut her finger. A drop of blood appeared. Still, she apologized. Vanessa's anger only grew. "You've ruined my party." Grace whispered, "I'll clean everything." "You already ruined enough." Several guests exchanged uncomfortable looks. They knew Vanessa had gone too far. But wealth often made people afraid to speak. Noah glanced toward the entrance. "Ethan should be here by now," he whispered. The celebration had started without him because his flight had been delayed after visiting a construction project. Meanwhile, Grace quietly wrapped a napkin around her bleeding finger. An elderly caterer offered to help. Vanessa pushed the woman aside. "I'll handle my own staff." Grace wasn't even Vanessa's employee. She worked for the catering company. But Vanessa acted as though everyone existed to serve her. Then Noah reached into his pocket and looked at the small object he had picked up. His eyes widened. It wasn't broken glass. It was a delicate gold bracelet. Engraved inside were 4 simple words. For Mom. With love. Noah frowned. Grace had never worn jewelry. So whose bracelet was it? Before he could ask anyone, the ballroom doors slowly opened. Ethan walked inside carrying a small gift box. He expected smiles. Instead, he saw silence. Broken glass covered the floor. Grace stood frozen with tears in her eyes. Vanessa still looked furious. Ethan placed the gift on a nearby table. What happened? Vanessa quickly answered. She ruined everything. Grace tried to speak. I'm sorry. Ethan gently interrupted. No. He looked directly at Grace's injured hand. You're hurt. Vanessa laughed nervously. It's only a tiny cut. Ethan didn't smile. He removed his jacket and wrapped it around Grace's shoulders. The room filled with whispers. Vanessa's confidence began to disappear. Ethan, what are you doing? He turned toward the guests. My mother taught me something. If someone serves your family, you thank them. You never humiliate them. Vanessa folded her arms. You're choosing a maid over your fiancé. Before Ethan answered, Noah stepped forward. I found this. He handed Ethan the bracelet. Ethan stared at it. His eyes filled with tears. I gave this to Mom on her last birthday. Everyone looked confused. Grace quietly lowered her head. Ethan took a slow breath. The hospital lost this bracelet after my mother passed away. He turned toward Grace. You found it? Grace nodded. I found it while cleaning her room after everyone left. I searched everywhere for you. I never wanted anyone else to have it. She opened her apron pocket and carefully removed a small envelope. Inside were handwritten notes Ethan's mother had written during her final days. Grace had protected them for 3 years, hoping to return them personally one day. She never asked for praise. She simply waited for the right moment. Vanessa suddenly realized every guest was staring at her. But the biggest surprise was still waiting. Ethan carefully opened one of his mother's notes. Her familiar handwriting made his hands tremble. The message was short. Treat every person with kindness. Their job never defines their worth. He slowly looked at Vanessa. Then he looked around the ballroom. I've spent my whole life trying to honor those words. His voice remained calm. I failed today because I almost married someone who doesn't believe them. Vanessa's face turned pale. Ethan, don't do this. He gently removed the engagement ring from his finger. I already did. The ballroom fell completely silent. No one moved. No one even reached for a drink. Grace stepped back. This isn't because of me. I know, Ethan replied softly. It's because tonight showed me the truth. Vanessa's eyes filled with tears. For the first time all evening, she looked frightened instead of angry. I'm sorry. Ethan nodded kindly. I hope you truly mean that. I hope one day you'll understand that respect can't be bought. He asked the catering manager to bring Grace a first aid kit and thanked every employee by name before speaking to the guests. My parents cleaned buildings. My mother believed every honest job deserved honor. I'll never forget that again. Many guests quietly applauded. Several wiped away tears. The elderly caterer hugged Grace. Noah smiled proudly. Later that evening, Ethan personally drove Grace home. Before she stepped out of the car, he handed her the bracelet. My mother would want you to keep it until you're ready to give it back. Grace smiled through her tears. It belongs with your family. Ethan shook his head. You became part of that family the day you cared for Mom when no one asked you to. A few months later, Ethan created a foundation that provided scholarships and emergency support for hospitality workers across the state. Grace accepted a position helping manage the program. She spent her days helping people who often felt invisible. As for Vanessa, she quietly left town to begin a different life. People said she became much kinder after that night. Maybe losing everything finally helped her understand what truly mattered. Years later, Noah would still remember the silence that filled the ballroom. Not because a billionaire had ended an engagement, but because an ordinary maid reminded everyone that true wealth is measured by compassion, not by money. Sometimes the greatest gift we can offer another person is simple respect, because kindness has a way of revealing who we truly are when everyone is watching. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who still believes kindness can change the world. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment below.